Hello and welcome to game number 13 of the Hidden Cup. We have in the red John Key and in the blue Jamie Lee Ross. We are in the semi-finals. This is the first game of the semi-finals and it's a Hun War on Arabia. 1v1 Hun War on Arabia. Something you might not know about the semi-finals is it's actually a best of 3. And so these two players are about to find out who's the best by playing this map, Arabia, and then they've also each chosen a favourite map. Jamie Lee Ross just showing his surprise there. I think he's excited about the fact that both these players chose the same civilization. They're both Huns, cheeky double Huns, very good. Huns a very common pick on Arabia, Arabia being the classic tournament style map for Age of Empires 2. This is what real Age of Empires 2 kind of play looks like at a high level. So, as I was saying, the finals, the first game of the best of 3 is played on Arabia, and then each of them has chosen a home map. So Jamie Lee Ross in blue down here, he's chosen Arena to be his home map, and also John Key has chosen Nomad to be his home map. So we'll find out which map we play based on who loses this round, and hopefully they have a strategy prepared for their home map, which will help them and give them a chance to do a comeback potentially. And we'll get more games that way. It's hard to tell. But pretty standard starts from both of them. You'll remember, we've seen Huns before, lack of houses. They don't need houses, they save wood that way. Getting a straggler tree here from Jamie Lee Ross. They do start with 100 less wood, but it definitely works out in the wash if you don't have to build any more houses. And sending villagers over here, there's your first lumber camp, so very good from John Key. We'll take a moment just to look at the maps, and starting with John Key, I suppose, because we're right here. I like this back gold, and in fact that's going to be a very good spot for a town centre on the wood and the gold, keeping everything very safe. Maybe another one here between the stone and the wood, or even up on the back here behind that, or even down here. So a lot of good town centre options for John Key. However, a very open map, and he hasn't actually scouted his sheep yet. I wonder if his scout should make its way under there. A lot of good options for town centres in the Castle Age, which are really good economic boon opportunity for John Key there based on his map, but very open and actually quite difficult to wall. Although no doubt he will try to wall somewhat. But yeah, that's unfortunate. Here comes his first 4 coming in now. Very good, and we'll probably go to Jamie Lee Ross, and he's already got his first boards just arrived as well. Both on 12 villages, very easy. However, I do notice that John Key has Loom queued after 2 more villages, so he might drop in villager count just as before he goes up to feudal age, or for a short time there, or at least until Jamie Lee Ross picks up Loom. Loom takes the same amount of time as it takes to make 1 villager. So, Jamie Lee Ross's map, I like this map a lot more. You can see the back golds, the back stone, very good. Remembering that John Key's up in this direction, coming from this direction, so very defensible back line here. A wall here to here, very easy to achieve, and actually this entire back part of the map, because this forest goes against the edge of the map here, a wall here is very effective, because then you don't need to do the double wall there, and you can bring it back towards the town centre. So we'll see, and here's your second ball coming in. Very good to see. Early mill, don't necessarily agree with that. He's gone for the straggler trees first, and he'll do the lumber camp later. Honestly, this is very Jock-like, isn't it? I've always thought Jock plays a little weird in the early game. That might be him. Especially because we started to get far enough in the tournament to see the good players come out of the woodwork. And also very wallable on this side. You can see these 2 tree lines are actually connected. So, very defensible map for Jamie Lee Ross, and hopefully we'll see him taking advantage of that with those nice easy walls and making sure that any feudal aggression from John Key does not pay off. So let's talk Huns for a moment, because we know they don't build houses, but what do they do well? Something they do very well is the cavalry archer, which they get cheaper and cheaper as the game goes on. And they can build those in the Castle Age. So what you usually see, missed an opportunity to snipe the scout of Jamie Lee Ross just there. That could have been valuable. What you usually see is you get to feudal age in a reasonable time because you're not spending a lot of wood on houses. And then as you're going up, you add a barracks, and then once you hit feudal age, you pop down 2 archery ranges, a lot of your economy is shifted to be on wood and gold, and you only leave 5 villagers on fur just to continue the villager production coming out. But then you have your 2 archery ranges or even 3 archery ranges, and you just start pumping in out archers as fast as you can, and they go to your enemy base and hopefully do a lot of economy damage. And then, once you hit Castle Age, which you inevitably do after long enough, you simply switch to cavalry archers, and all the upgrades for the archers are quite similar, so they actually have a lot of overlap there, and so it's a very smooth transition, a very powerful transition to make. Other options is you could opt for because of the lack of houses, it's kind of like its own wood bonus, right? So you can actually do a lot of other things. You could go double stables into a fast castle into knights, which could be quite valuable. And we might see that as well, knights being quite a common theme for Huns as well. A lot of the Civ kind of centers on this idea of mobility. John Key complaining, "Did you steal my sheep?" He just hasn't found his sheep, they're in the back. John Key, you need to scout properly. Where is your scout? It's down here. Oh, I think that John Key, if we switch to his perspective, he thinks Jamie Lee Ross is down in this corner. He doesn't realise, and this is something else I'd like to say about the map generation, they're very close. They're very close and they're on the same side of the map, so that's going to be very interesting and would actually reward early aggression, because your troops will get there much faster, but it's not going to reward John Key right now because he just straight up can't find Jamie Lee Ross. Oh dear. So anything he makes is probably going to start off by going in the wrong direction. I like to see this milling out on these hunter bulls, getting that little bit of extra food. It's really good for John Key to see. That's going to help him have a really fast feudal age time, and you can see that he has already gone up to the feudal age. He's on 21 villages. Very nice time. Oh no, sorry, that was Jamie Lee Ross. Yeah, there we go. Now he's clicked up. That's where now it's starting to research. Jamie Lee Ross was also complaining about not finding his sheep, and he found 1 out of 4, which are hiding over here. These 2 players aren't the best scouters in the world, are they? But I do like this. This is what we were talking about before. A lovely wall starting off from the edge of the map. Jamie Lee Ross really interested in keeping himself safe. Wall is a little late, to be honest, but it doesn't look like John Key has gotten anything out yet. In fact, it's a little bit of a late feudal age time for him. And this would almost be forgiven to look like a fast castle build, apart from the fact that, well, he does have 24 villages, so that's good. You'll note the villagers' amounts. They will range from, whenever someone gets a research, like going up in age, their villager count will actually drop off. And that's actually quite a big deal, because it means during that entire time of you aging up, you're 2 or 3 villagers behind your opponent. And that could be 2 or 3 knights when you hit the next stage, or 2 or 3 military units, and that could be a big deal. A lot of John Key's economy is on this side of the map, and I think that reflects the idea that he thought Jamie Lee Ross was down this side of the map, in the bottom left, and he's still searching for him down there. And he thinks this is at the back of his base, very safe and out of the way and hard to find, but he doesn't realise that Jamie Lee Ross is right here, and if he goes over to John Key, he'll probably accidentally just run into this anyway. So that's actually quite funny. More walls up in front for Jamie Lee Ross. He is going for a very defensive play this game. He's very... Oh, and stone walls. This is the first time I've seen stone walls in the Hidden Cup. He's opted for stone walls. The problem with stone walls is they cost stone. Stone is a very valuable resource, and when you only have 200 of it when you start the game, you can't put down 2 town centres as soon as you hit Castle Age, so it's very safe. It can save a lot of economy, but at the same time you're hamstringing yourself now, because you need to spend some gold, maybe buying the stone, or some villager time getting the stone to put down town centres when you hit Castle Age. And putting down extra town centres is so important for making sure that your economy is more powerful than the enemy economy. You can see switching into farms now for John Key. He's gone through all those deer. Really good point. A lot of idols for him. A little bit sloppy and messy here, but 2 archery ranges, and that's very much what we expect to see from a Hun player. As I was saying before, create some archers first, and then the transition to cavalry archer later on is really easy. So that's good to see. Playing the meta. Very open though, and this is going to be his problem. Very open. He hasn't really fully walled up yet. He is trying to make some walls, and this could be connected to this wood line, and he might try some sort of big thing here. Oh, and the scout, he gets away. Jamie Lee Ross garrisoning his villagers to try to get the free scout pick, and this scout is so important. He's finally found him. John Key, if we turn up, yep, finally found him. He was so close on this side, but he finally got there. He now knows, what's he going to do? Scout that villager? Oh, he did. He saw the stable. So that's really valuable information, actually. We come back here and see the stable again. See it go up. Because when you see the stable, hopefully he's thinking, oh, a stable? I went to archery ranges. Why is Jamie Lee Ross going a stable? 2 stables, even. How about that? If only that scout had lived a little fraction of a second longer, and got that little bit more information there. So it looks like, now I'm expecting not scouts. I'm expecting a fast castle by Jamie Lee Ross, or a faster castle, and he's picking up bloodlines now, which is quite early. Normally that costs a lot of food. Normally you go castle age first, and as you go into castle age you get the upgrades. He's getting bloodlines down. Maybe he wants to make some scouts. He might be expecting a bit of aggression. And here comes that aggression that he may or may not have been expecting. Let's look at his fog of war. Yeah, he never scouted the archery ranges, so he doesn't actually know that this is coming here. He's just opted for scouts as an opening play. It's kind of like rock, paper, scissors. And unless you've been scouting your opponent, you don't really know what you've picked. And I think John Key's picked scissors here. This is the archers. But the first thing, you're going to have to find a way into these giant walls of Jamie Lee Ross. He's not quite finished it down here, but he's got plenty of time to pull that off. Very, very defensive play by Jamie Lee Ross. And we'll find out what he does with these 2 stables he's built. He's not used them quite yet, apart from getting those upgrades. He might be trying to focus Castle Age, which is what I'd expect. And I'll lose his scout for free. He'll react. No, it doesn't get away quite fast enough. These archers can't hit moving targets, but they can hit that scout just in time. Now Jamie Lee Ross is in the dark. This villager trying to build a gate, finishing the wall down there. Now something about Age of Empires is people used to use gates a bit too much, and they became too powerful because you just chuck down a gate and start building it and you couldn't walk through the foundation. So they reduced the armor of gates a lot, and these archers, if they came and took out this villager and this remains a foundation, they could actually get through the foundation very quickly because it would have no armor. It wouldn't take that many shots from this small group of 7 archers. So that could be quite, and he might see that. There we go, villager pick, very good from John Key. And we're instantly, John Key now on 39 villagers versus the 41 of John Key. Sorry, Jamie Lee Ross is actually on 41 villagers. John Key is on 40 now, so there's only a 1 difference. So it's very important that John Key got that pick to help even up the odds, I think. And here comes scouts. He's been making scouts out of these stables. And this is actually probably enough scouts to clear up this amount of archers too. If there's more archers, maybe not, but these scouts should have no problem. And of course, Bloodlines is in, so they have the extra health. Very healthy on a horse. And they will clean up these archers. So Jamie Lee Ross. So the thing about Jamie Lee Ross. Okay, so this is really interesting. So these archers have actually done more damage to Jamie Lee Ross than what it actually looks like, because these scouts have been made in response, and each scout costs 80 food. And so now he's only on 400 food, where he could have spent all that food going to Castle Age. And these scouts would never have gotten in anyway because he's surrounded by walls. Instead, he spent that food, and over on the other side of the map, John Key, he's already half the way to Castle Age. So, and here's a villager sneaking over to the other side of the map. That's really interesting. I wonder what his plan is. So, John Key is going to get to Castle Age first, and yes, there's a lot of scouts out at the moment for Jamie Lee Ross, but these might be too many scouts, and we'll see if he can actually make use of these and do some economy damage, which would make them worth it. But at this stage, unless he can pull off that damage, he will be in a bad position against the soon-to-be Castle Age John Key. And he's going to try bust through one of these walls, and we'll see what happens, but no doubt there'll be spears in the way. Yep. as soon as his archers died on the front, he had started making spears. A perfect play actually from John Key, and even just two spearmen, that's enough to scare off these scouts. You don't want to engage, it's just too rough. You just lose so much health and so many scouts so fast, it's really hard to deal with. John Key now in the Castle Age. How is he going to make advantage of this play that he's made? And here we have some scouts quickly taking down these palisade walls. If only they were made out of stone. John Key. One of these villagers could build a market or a blacksmith behind these, just to keep these out for a little while longer. But it looks like, oh, he's going to respond with a knight instead, so he's making knights out of the stable. Knights, very powerful Castle Age unit. It's already got one of the attack and defense upgrades. These scouts, they're going to run, they're going to change their mind, they're going to fight one knight, not too scary. Or is it? There goes one scout. You can see the armor of these guys is amazing. One scout down, two scouts down. Will he get a third? Not quite, but the spearmen come in and the scouts run away. The scouts are going to get reinforced. So it's going to turn into a feudal age army versus what I can only assume is, more knights coming out for John Key. And again, you saw what one of those can do. And you have three, it's just so much worse, so much harder to deal with. This hill in the centre is in a very cool position, isn't it? It's protecting this gold. I'd like to see a castle on this hill by John Key. He doesn't have anyone in stone, unfortunately. Tell you who is on... Yeah, look at that. So Jamie Lee Ross has actually been on stone for quite a while now. He's got 769 in the bank. Scouts coming in for a second hit. And finally, Johnny come lately, Jamie Lee Ross finally got to the Castle Age. Again, these scouts haven't done the damage yet. Oh, and as soon as he gets to the Castle Age, he wants to put the castle on the hill up here. The scouts going to engage against the spearmen. A lot of free hits there, a lot of damage against the scouts. Didn't even take out a spear. And 3 knights have come to clean up this little army here. Man-at-arms put out onto the field by Jamie Lee Ross. That's to counter the spearmen, but they're slow. They're not going to get there in time. He's going to try taking an engagement here, I think, once his army groups up. But this isn't enough. Those knights in Castle, they're just too strong. He's desperately still trying to run the scouts away from the spears. These knights are going to engage on the man-at-arms. They'll clean those up very handily. This villager, he's umming and ahhing. He's thinking, I really want to get this castle up on the hill. It's going to all depend on how this fight goes. He thinks it's worth it. He's going to go there. He goes to put the castle up. It's going to start getting building, but these knights, they're just so strong, and they take out the army of Jamie Lee Ross, and more knights are coming in, and they spotted it. They instantly see the castle. These are coming back. Don't look at him, I'm just hunting. He tries to quick wall himself, and he should have done that a long time ago. He would have been fine, actually. The castle, oh no, it's too much. Bob dies. He didn't have a permit to hunt, so the knights took him out. A lot of knights, and all of a sudden you can see that play not going scouts, getting to the Castle Age earlier, getting those knights out earlier, and the game has completely pivoted into John Key's favour. He's in a very commanding position right now, and he has a lot of map control. It's all his to do, and I'd like to see him come forward. Maybe he's got to put his own castle on the hill, even more forward on this gold. Start putting some pressure on these walls. Castles go through walls very quickly. Jamie Lee Ross recognising the shift. She's going to replace that castle in his base a lot more defensively. What is John Key's next move going to be? Cavalry Archer, and I would love to see this. This is exactly what Huns do good. And with enough Cavalry Archer, they're so mobile, they're so fast, they put out so much damage. He could really start snowballing this game in the right direction. He just needs to make a lot of them, and I'd like to see another 2 stables now that he's in Castle Age. Perfect positioning of the town centre. We spoke about this in Dark Age, how good this would be. I'd like to see another town centre. I suppose his B line's actually kind of gone, but maybe a town centre forward under this gold. Keep your villagers safe, John Key. You're not very well walled. In fact, there's a hole in your wall here. I hope that doesn't come back to bite you. They did get in, didn't they? But they didn't go in. They just opened the way for the next thing. Some cavalry archers and archers getting caught out of position here by John Key. The rest of his army is sleeping on the job. He's going to lose those for free. Still plenty of knights though. However, now Jamie Lee Ross with his own knights. Not all the upgrades yet. You'll find that, yes, John Key has all the upgrades. Jamie Lee Ross is missing the second attack upgrade, which actually would be very important to cancel out the armor of the knights. That sneaky villager has actually built a town centre in the far left of the map by Jamie Lee Ross. That's really cheeky. I doubt that will ever be scouted this game, and that's just like free economy. It's never going to be found, right? It's fantastic, and there's also some gold and stone there to boot. So very sneaky play by Jamie Lee Ross, but I love it. It's very nice. Lots of knights and mixing in the odd light cavalry as he runs out of gold there. And also, I like this, a couple of Tarkans too, a very diverse horseman army. Like heavily countered by pikes, and I'm hoping we're getting pikes. Yes, protect into pikemen for John Key, so he shouldn't have a problem dealing with this, but he's gonna have to catch it, and it is going straight through that hole, and it's gonna hit the juicy economy. Still don't have the second armor or attack upgrade on these knights, so the town centre will do a bit of damage to these troops, but they're not gonna sit around and do it. They're just gonna hit and run, and the rest of Chunky's army scrambling in pursuit, and this is going to be a huge blow for him. Look at the villager count. We're currently at 65. We were at 60 a second ago, but we're already down to 50 for John Key. 50 villagers. They're dropping like flies. He gets some of his knights to engage against the knights of Jamie Lee Ross, and the rest of the army is just too slow. Just ignore the pikemen. Run in with your cavalry archers and knights. Mobility is winning the game with Jamie Lee Ross right now, and he gets a huge amount of damage onto the economy of John Key. This shouldn't be happening. There needs to be more town centres. This town centre up here too late and also kind of out of position. At least he'll find a sheep though. And all of this, and you can see here there's a little bit of a speed difference now between the players. John Key, he's been a little bit frazzled, I think, by this attack. He's not moving his army around as much. He's losing too many villages. There's too many attack bells going off in too many places. He really needs to just get his army moving and chasing these guys down. He's doing a good job trying to keep as many villages as alive as possible. Should be garrisoning in and out, trying to keep them working but also alive. There we go, very good to see. That scout will go down, and this Tarkin will go down as well. But look at the front, more coming in. However, John Key's army is ready this time, and they're going to go straight into there. Jamie Lee Ross noticing and engaging, starting better over. There's too many pikes here, and I agree. Oh, yep. He's just going to try keep going forward. Very slow. Now, maybe no husbandry yet from Jamie Lee Ross. It's hard to tell. I don't know if he picked up that technology, but just going straight for the eco, and that's exactly what he does. He has actually a much smaller force, but he's using it so well. He's saying, I don't need to fight your army. Your army is slow and covered in heavy armor. I'm just going to do my best to hit you where it hurts. And that's your villager count. Let's take a look. 28 villagers for John Key. He's not holding up to the pressure. These 3 town centres need to be 4 or 5 now for him to get back into the game. He's taken some heavy losses. Very heavy losses. Another town centre going up on this wood line in the middle of the map. Jamie Lee Ross, again, he's got really good game sense. He's sensed the switch. Even though he has less army, he's sensed the switch of control. He's using that opportunity to get the map control back, and it's awesome to see. I would like to see him reattempt the castle here, now that he is actually distracting John Key in his base. That would be perfect. This army just hanging out. It could kill this army, but this army is just too fast. He needs to maybe drop the pikemen and just really focus on getting his own knights out. 1 stable's not enough. He does have 2, I suppose, but more cavalry archers would be really good to see. He does have plenty of wood and gold economy. We get a 1v1 duel up here, but Jamie Lee Ross was looking, and he has the better knight. That knight will stay there and be very annoying for a little while, sending off those alarm bells, continuing to take John Key's attention off where it needs to be. And he's just going to run away. Damage done. Why lose the army? Why not just retreat? And that was a fantastic play by Jamie Lee Ross, taking advantage of the hole that he had made in Feudal Age with those scouts. Those scouts finally paying off. He almost lost it there with that late Castle Age, but he's really crawled his way back into this game in a very strong way. Very strong. Another town centre, that's almost up now, so that will become its own little... It's very smart. Now all this wood economy is going to be completely defended. Anyone attacks, you just garrison inside the town centre, you're fine. I like the addition of this monastery. This monk will go and grab these relics, and the relics will be taken back to the monastery and give free gold to Jamie Lee Ross. That's really good to see. I've forgotten about this knight up here. All of these villagers have been collecting stone, and John Key says, I want my own castle, and you know what? It's going to plug that hole. No doubt. Maybe he's going to go for the centre. I would love for him to. I'd love to see him go over the centre. He's got these guys on the left to deal with, but he's got enough pikemen. He has the military control. No, he's gonna be a bit more defensive. He's not quite brave enough to put that castle in the centre just yet. I would also have liked to see that castle right here, over this golden wood, because all you need right now to stay in the game, John Key, is gold and wood into mass cavalry archer. If you had 30 cavalry archer by now, which is a very doable feat, being Huns, they're cheaper, then you would be not only chasing this army, you would be killing it. And you can see one cavalry archer isn't enough to cut the mustard, although it will take out the knight finally. There we go. These villagers not getting inside those town centres fast enough. A little bit frazzled there, I think, John Key. Not quite fast enough on the villager uptake, losing a lot more in the stone, and he's down to 33. Even with 3 town centres, making 1 villager each every 30 seconds, he's still not there. And taking a good fight up here against Jamie Lee Ross's cavalry, but they're running away. Good to see. Jamie Lee Ross, fantastic military control this game. Really showing what you can do with a small amount of units, what kind of damage you can do. Just by running away, he's not going to face the army of John Key. He doesn't need to. That's perfect strategy. And on the front, more Tarkans coming in. They might take some free picks here. Yep, some undefended cavalry archers. This is really important to do. If these cavalry archers get too massed, they'll become a problem. So picking them out one by one as they come out of these archery ranges is a good thing to do. He knows that could be a problem if he lets this game go on for too long. We already have a small mass of them here. In fact, it's been really good for John Key to keep his military numbers up during all of this. But if he loses this army, he's not going to get another one. He needs to keep this army alive, and he needs to use it to protect his economy, which is currently in absolute shambles. Completely abandoned this side. One lonely pikeman just keeping an eye on things. And here's a big fight. Oh, swordsman! So Jamie Lee Ross has made a switch into swordsman. This is in response to these pikes. Now that wasn't quite enough swordsmen, and swordsmen do cost gold, but they're quite good at taking out pikemen. It's kind of what their role could be. Unfortunately, with this many cavalry archers mixed in with the pikemen, that would win overall. But he just he needs more before he just tosses them in like that. And they also need to go in with the cavalry, I think. You can't just put them in by themselves. But it's a good play from him. It's an okay play. I'm not a huge fan of it. It's not a bad play. But I doubt he'll find a good opportunity for those long swords to only encounter pikemen and not cavalry archers at this stage, unless he takes the cavalry archers out with his own cavalry. And these guys going in for another round as soon as he's distracted, and even very cheekily stealing the relic right underneath the nose of John Key. If anything's hurt John Key this game, it's been his scouting. He never found his sheep. And now Jamie Lee Ross's. He went to the other side of the map when he was looking for Jamie Lee Ross. And now just then, and oh no, in on the wood line, we have more villagers dropping like flies. Every single time he tries to get that villager count up, he's back to 30 again. He was back up. No, he was in mid-40s before that attack, and he just lost so many just then. And barely any losses for Jamie Lee Ross. Like a lot of HP, sure, on these units, and they're starting to get a little bit battle worn, I think. But just such a good job to keep the small cavalry army alive. Oh, and there it is. Advanced to the Imperial Age. This intact economy has just been working overtime for Jamie Lee Ross. He's in the Imperial Age now, and with that, if he wasn't in the Imperial Age, if he was having a tough time maintaining this army, then there was still a game. But now that he's reached there, there's very little, I think, that John Key can do at this time. We're starting to see a bit of a big difference in the numbers. That economy is really starting to pay off for Jamie Lee Ross, and this shredded economy of John Key is just not cutting the mustard anymore. Here come the longswords. They're going to try to get engagements against these pikes, or even on the downhill on the cavalry archers, just fine while they distract with the high health of the Tarkans. And a lovely fight on the hill for Jamie Lee Ross, and this will no doubt seal up the game in his favour, completely killing that army of John Key. And like I said before, John Key only gets one army. He doesn't have the economy to make much more, or at least not at the rate that Jamie Lee Ross will be making it. And he now with no army to defend himself, he's going to quickly fall behind. There's nothing to stop these Tarkans coming in and just taking out one of these town centres now. This castle's not in the correct position to defend these town centres. And with that little fight on the hill, this hill really did decide the game in some ways. That little fight on the hill, Jamie Lee just took the victory, in my opinion. I don't like to call it too early, but what's going on here? Double mills, more fouls potentially from John Key in the back. Not very defendable. I'd prefer to put them around the town centre, but trebuchets coming, the famous trebuchet there. Amazing, aren't they? On its 4 big cart wheels. It's going to come over here. Famous for launching 70 kg projectiles over 300 meters. John Key losing some knights for free there. This trebuchet is going to take that castle down for free. It's got the range and it's got the power. Bam! Wonderful to see. So majestic. And there's some swears in the chat from John Key. Oh, no way! In the true fashion of the one who recognises the game is lost, a palisade penis, to admit defeat, and I expect. I drew a small thingy for you, Michael. Thank you, John Key. What a way to say good game, and I suspect. Yeah, there it is. There's the GG called, and a fantastic game between these fantastic players. So close, so back and forth, especially in early Castle Age. It really did look like John Key had the advantage there, and he did. He had all the map control. He just the hole in his wall just led to so much damage so fast, and that is just the power of the Huns. They're a very mobile civ, they're very quick, and you make one little mistake, it can be all over like that. The stone walls inevitably paying off for Jamie Lee. They never even really got threatened. I think they were just a bit too scary for John Key. He should have really just tried to go around the side with his own knights. Imagine if he had those knights that were running around the base all the time, not doing anything, not facing this army. Imagine if he'd just gone here, hit that wall, and come in and hit Jamie Lee Ross's economy. There's no town centres for these villages to run in, and 3 knights here and 3 knights here would have crippled Jamie Lee Ross. So sometimes, if you can't fight your enemy fast enough, just go fight them where they can't run away. And I think that might be the lesson we learn from this game. But really good to see more town centres by Jamie Lee Ross, just so that if he did get raided here, it wasn't going to be the end game for him. But very good play from both players. We'll have a real quick look at the statistics. There's the scores, but military, yeah, you know, towards the end of the game is where Jamie Lee Ross is, and most of these are villages actually, but as far as armies were concerned, very similar, and if anything, I think John Key was actually taking really good fights there, and most of the time was dominant in the game from a military perspective. The difference in eco here, mainly due to the fact that John Key spent the last 10 minutes with 30 villages rather than the 85 of Jamie Lee Ross. Technology, again, that early Castle Age time, those feudal age scouts really hurting Jamie Lee Ross, and John Key was really dominant at that time of the game. There's a villager high there. Relic gold. Those relics were starting to give Jamie some good returns, and the time is so close. It was just that slip up with John Key's defense that really unraveled this game for him. It's a real shame to see, but that's why you war. And I hope he's learned his lesson. With that, we go on to the home map of John Key. I'll remind you that is Nomad, and that is a very interesting game type, so I'm looking forward to that. That'll be the next video. And for now, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed that as much as I did. And until next time.